Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out-of-this-world story from rSpace. Long-term side effects of being cheated on. For just a little of my background, 52 male. My first marriage I was with her 12 years, married 8 of them. My second marriage was married 8 and with her 10 years. Both marriages ended when I caught them cheating with coworkers. While I was divorcing my first wife, she admitted cheating on me early in our relationship, to the point where she told me that our kid wasn't mine biologically. This was a move to try and get out of paying child support to me. She put me down as the father on the birth certificate. This gave me legal rights to our kid, so he couldn't be taken from me. Unknowingly to her, or my kid, I went and got a DNA test done. I found out I wasn't his biological father. This changed nothing how I felt about my son or our relationship. It only made me resent my first wife even more than I already did. She lived with that lie for 12 years. No wonder our relationship didn't last. She cheated in the beginning of the relationship and at the end. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Stayed single for a few years, then met a woman at my work. Things progressed with us. She told me her marriage was over, just the divorce wasn't final yet. I believed her because I've heard of divorces dragging on for years. She also had her own house. We hung out there all the time. Her divorce became final. A year later we moved in together. Then we married. Trickle truth started leaking out. I pieced together that I was the other guy. Years went by. We had kids. She changed jobs a few times. Her next job, she was gone a lot. I was being ripped on a lot, discarded. I eventually caught her cheating with a coworker. I found out she was trying to buy a place near her work, essentially trying to change her address to establish residency in another county so she could get full custody of the kids for me. I filed immediately and locked my kids into my area. I went and talked to her first husband. He said the thing that shocked him the most was how far in advance she planned her exit strategy to screw him when they divorced. He knew nothing about the house she got or me. I apologized to him because I fully thought their relationship was over. He was happy to be rid of her and was happily remarried. So here I sit, 3 years out from being divorced twice, 22 years of my life with women that carried lies into the relationship from day one. How do I ever trust someone again? Emotionally, I'm in lockdown. It sucks. I have been told to see counseling. I got online and the first counselor that popped up was my ex. She lost her job and is now a family counselor and marriage counselor. What the F? Our first reaction comes from Big Ed Cactus Head. With either wife, were there signs of their character flaws? Did they tell little lies? Were they unable to admit when they were wrong? Did they rationalize bad behavior? Did they display any signs like these that showed their true nature? The OP answers, looking back, yes, there were signs. Things were always someone else's fault. Both had crap childhoods. Neither had a father. Second one is a full-blown narcissist. Next comment from OneWait8383. Well, maybe totally irrelevant, but can you leave reviews about your ex-wife, the family counselor? If I were you, I would just detail everything you wrote here. As a proof, post a pic of 2 together. That should seal the deal. The OP replied, yeah, then she will say she has to move away to find work and I'll have custody fight on my hands. Or she will show the bad review to the courts and say she can't find work because of it, and I'll be paying her a bunch of child support. Moving on, I laughed and said, good luck. 3 weeks ago, my 30 female boyfriend, 31 male, 7 years, and new fiance were choosing our wedding venue. We had a tentative date selected, 9/2/22, and wanted to see the venue before committing. Afterwards, we got lunch and reminisced about falling in love 7 years ago in the small beach town where our wedding was to be held. That night, he told me he couldn't wait to be my husband. What I didn't know was that he had screwed his married coworker in the back of his truck the night before. That following week, he was off. I thought it was wedding jitters, but he was corresponding with the wedding planner about deposits for the venue. He even approved one of my wedding dress ideas. Intimacy and everything else seemed normal. Friday, 1 week after he had cheated on me, I found him in the middle of the night in our bathroom crying. He dropped the bomb on me. I was stunned, floored, just in shock. We've been together for 7 years, lived together for 5. We have 2 dogs together. I told him to tell me everything, and he sang like a canary. They were in love. They were soulmates, probably. He's known her for 3 months, and they've never interacted outside of work, according to him. But they have amazing chemistry. She's been with her husband for 10 years and was officially married last summer. but he's a bad man who doesn't deserve her. He neglects her. Apparently, the plan was for him to leave me and then wait for her to divorce her husband so that they could be together. I asked him if she'd already started the separation process. He said he wasn't sure, but she told her husband about them and he was okay with it. The whole thing was so ridiculous that I laughed and wished him luck. This is not going to end well. At least the amusement from this mess will keep me distracted from the fact that my life is falling apart around me. First response from Maka87. This. He will beg for you to take him back once his affair partner informs him she is not going to get a divorce. So long with a person can make you feel like grass is greener on the other side. He will find out it isn't. Stay strong, OP. Next reaction from Hatersaurus Rex. My dad did this when I was small. Divorced my mom and left her with 5 kids and no car to be with a 19-year-old married girl from work. He was in his early 30s at the time. Turns out she wasn't really planning to divorce her husband from my dad, so back he came crawling after a year or so. My mom, being stuck with 5 kids and only ever having been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, took him back. It was her only realistic option, but it took a massive toll on everyone and is at the heart of our family dynamic even today. Rush Maddock wanted to say, "There's a lot of my story in yours. Insecure liars and weak people tell these kinds of tales to one another. When the affair partner's wife reached out to me to tell me what was happening, I found out my ex had told the affair partner that they were a marriage for show, slept in separate bedrooms, and were only together because of the kids. That was news to me. Laughed, cry, take your time, and then move on. It won't be what he thinks it is, and if he comes crawling back, remember how pathetic he was in those moments. Sorry, OP, you don't deserve this." A quick little comment from Rage Sadness All in One. "Tell the husband. Guarantee he doesn't know." The OP responded, "Told him. He did not know. He and the affair partner are now separated. He's devastated. They were apparently trying for a baby." Yelling Banana Bear wanted to add, "Oh man, I can relate. My husband of 16 years with 4 kids together decided to have an affair for over a year. D-Day was a little more than a month ago. I kicked him out, and he is living with the affair partner, who is due with his baby this month. He is so full of remorse. He misses me and his kids so much. But him and affair partner work together, and they have a connection, which is basically the excitement of a new relationship. And now that excitement is gone. He sees who the better person is. Hint, it's not the affair partner. But too late. I won't stand for it. See you later. His life is now immersed in regret and shame. He is miserable, and it's all his fault." The OP replies, "How could it be, AP? Hint, the cheater is not the better person. I'm so sorry this has happened to you and your family. I cannot imagine going through this with children. You must be a strong mama bear. I hope there are brighter days ahead for you and your children." On to the next adventure. Do they ever really change, or do they just find ways to be sneakier? I, 40 male, stayed with my ex-wife through 2 of 3 affairs that I knew about. If someone wants to cheat, they will. Sometimes the thrill is simply getting away with the affair while their partner is none the wiser. I deal with technology for a living, and each affair involved new ways of hiding it. Trust gets broken on so many levels, the damage is irreversible. That was my case anyway, and may not be in someone else's. Little S'more thinks, "The damage here was too much, and he denied it, even with proof. He watched me totally lose my mind in a sense. Texting with him now, and he says he doesn't care. I know he has someone else. I have gotten out of bed barely all week." Basic Quantity 9430 has this to add. "Look, he told you that he doesn't care. Start loving yourself. Get out of bed and go out to lunch or dinner with close friends that care about you. Take back your life from him. Find a good licensed therapist if you can afford it, or have insurance that pays for therapy. You will be happier than him in a year. He seems like crap. Don't remotely think of taking him back when he comes crawling back." Me Lucifer 666 says, "I caught my wayward husband texting a stripper he met August of 2019. He had no proof of any affair. He just said he screwed up and went to a club and was trying to score drugs, and they started talking. Guess what? D-Day with affair partner was March 26th, 2021. Another stripper, and this was full-blown everything with all the proof. They were literally in a relationship. This time, after I caught him checking his phone, he went and got a burner phone to hide it. But I found that too. I don't believe it is every single cheater will cheat again, but I believe most will, and they learn from previous mistakes they made, if getting caught to hide it better next time." Zuga Booga wants to add, "I would say they just get better at sneaking around. I caught my wife having at least 2 affairs concurrently, and there was evidence of possibly 4 affairs, but she only admitted to 2. Of course, she said she loved me and wanted our marriage and stopped the affairs. But in the end, 8 months later, she cheated again, and to be honest, she may have cheated again before then. I recently posted the entire story of how I found out, etc., in case anyone wants to read it. Our next thought is from Vape Life, Old as New. I think it depends how they stopped or if they stopped at all. Did they come to you and confess out of remorse, or did they get caught somehow? I truly believe anyone who gets caught instead of confessing on their own has close to a 100% chance of cheating again, or in the case of my ex, never really stopping and technically carrying on with 2 affair partners at once. DOP replies, he got caught having online affairs. He swears it's never been physical. The woman never followed through based on the messages I read. He has permanently deleted most of his social media accounts this year since getting caught about the ongoings of last year, and will be changing his number. I wiped his phone of every number he had of these women. Such a long list. Ugh. I've never felt so low in my life. Vape Life Old as New chimes in. Emotional affairs are just as much a betrayal, even worse in ways because of the intangibles it takes away. I strongly recommend reading Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life by Chump Lady. Even if you plan to stay, it offers some great perspective and will help you recognize any BS he's still spewing. Our last comment comes from Point Proven. I'll put myself out there and say I was the cheater. It's been 2 years since I told my wife. Our relationship is improving, but it has been slow. I know I can never be who I was back then again. I don't just mean a cheating a-hole. I've worked really hard to not be a selfish a-hole. I've read a ton of books, watched a ton of videos, went to therapy, and I come and read stories on Reddit all the time. I don't post as much as I used to, but I'm still reading. I know for me, evolving change is necessary to continue to prove that I am not a total waste of time. I want to be a better father, person, and husband. On all 3, I'm better than I've ever been, but I have to continue to improve. If I don't, I fear she won't see the man I can be. She doesn't owe me anything, but I'm grateful for the time she has given me. I never realized how much I could hurt a person until I saw it in her face, eyes. I will never do that to a person again. She has endured a lot. Even before there was ever an affair, I want to make sure she doesn't even flirt with that kind of disappointment and pain again. This is just me, but hopefully it gives someone hope. I know 2 years isn't a long time, but I'm living up to my promises. Good luck with whatever path you take. I'm sorry you're going through this.